Hey, good morning, everyone. It is so great to see you this Monday morning. Um, ah, I'm not trying to be fashionably late, you guys. I'm actually got the mic to work, and then it suddenly stopped working, and so that's how it goes. So it's been quite the past few days since we've last seen each other. And I think the most important thing for us to talk about is the breaking news. We'll get to how Donald loses. And that is, of course, for, among other things, in his extreme arrogance, being so jealous and so hateful about a successful woman that he decides to take her on. A woman who has everything he doesn't: youth, beauty, intelligence, a way with words, an adoring fan base, giant crowds, legitimate billionaire sales, as opposed to taking his daddy's money and losing it time and time again. And why he is doing this isn't because it's logical, my friends. It's because it is just who he is. He hates anyone and everything that takes attention away from him. And it's not going to work. In fact, this latest move will destroy him. But first, let's talk about the breaking news. Again, I'm sure you've already heard there was yet another assassination attempt against Donald Trump, this time at one of his eponymous golf courses. This one in down near Mar-a-Lago in South Florida. And this time, the shooter was taken into custody alive, and we will soon perhaps know more about him. But already, of course, the internet is supreme, and folks have been able to look into what appears to be his social media history. That is, until at least Elon Musk on Twitter, who takes no one down these days, took down his account, so we can't see it. What we do know is that he appears to have at one time supported Donald Trump, then somehow felt betrayed and became a ride or die Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy supporter. And he's also, although again, as I have to always disclaim my lack of expertise around things like knowing how to cook and also being, being an expert in psychology. If you take a look at him, you will see that he is utterly unhinged. I'm going to share with you first something you may not yet have seen that has been on the internet, an interview with him that a reporter in Kyiv did. For some reason, I did not save this reporter's name, but I will check into it, I promise, and maybe I'll put it up in our show notes on YouTube. Okay, guys. Let's play this. Now, this is the accused shooter who's been taken into custody. His name is Ryan Wesley Ruth, and it's Ryan Wesley, Weslei, Ruth, Routh. I may be mispronouncing his name. Let's play this. Again, this is this interview from when he was in Kyiv a couple years ago.
All right.
Actually, I'm realizing, you know what? I'm not sure. Tell me when I play this if you can hear it, because I'm using this mic and I don't hear it when it comes up on stage. So please let me know if you hear this. I'm looking at you, Jason. If you don't, I will unplug this mic and then plug it back in.
We're here with a gentleman I met from Hawaii.
Yes, sir.
Ryan.
Can you hear that?
His name's Ryan.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
You got here, 2 days ago?
This morning.
You got here this morning. And you want to tell the people that are watching this why you came from home.
Yeah, I came to represent the USA. So, I'm somewhat disappointed in the international civilian response to this crisis. I had anticipated that thousands of civilians from every country around the world would have flocked here to support the Ukrainians as civilians, to stand arm in arm with them. But it seems like a handful of people have shown up. So, I'm disappointed.
So we're on the border of Poland, Ukraine, but we're in Poland right now. So are you You're actually going to go into Ukraine.
Yeah, I'm going this afternoon. Yeah, I'm going into Ukraine. Yep, the hard way.
And what? So your purpose is?
Well, I'll try to sign up for the Foreign Legion, but I think more importantly, if I can simply go to the center of Kyiv and set up my tent, occupy Ukraine, encourage other civilians to come and stand with me in the center of Kyiv with our flags and our tents and stay there for as long as it takes to get the Russians out of Ukraine. We need to stand with our brothers in Ukraine to show the international response. We need thousands of people from every country around the world to come to Kyiv and stand with us with our flags to show Putin that everybody is against this and that we're going to stay as long as it takes to get every Russian out of Ukraine.
Yeah, that is weird. This was filmed, I believe, at the beginning of the war. On the one hand, he does want to help Ukraine. The problem is, as Jason points out, he's planning to set up a tent there. And he was at the time, I think, a 56-year-old man, not in good physical or mental health, wearing a Hawaiian lei around his neck, showing up in Poland to go to Kyiv. He is an extreme attention seeker. He may actually believe the things he says he believes, but he's really unhinged. And yes, Pippin, I hear you. It is incredibly heartfelt. And I know people like this. There are people who are genuinely heartfelt and believe things intensely, and they can be wildly dangerous. That is the problem. He seems to be off. And I should let you also know the fact that he was ready and armed is not a big change for him, because this is a man who's been arrested numerous times, including on gun charges before. And he reminds me of someone who, I'm not suggesting he ever is a batterer, but you do find men and other people in domestic relationships, not just men, who genuinely have a lot of big feelings. And you may feel sorry for them, but they're dangerous. And they use that kind of, vulnerability to draw people into their nonsense. Now, I want to tell you a little bit more about this man. Again, this is a person who was taken into custody, accused of attempting to assassinate Donald Trump. I'm going to play you, I know that you just saw that. That was a clip from Kyiv. Now we're going to get a piece from, mainstream media right here.
Of him is emerging. It's not conclusive. It doesn't tell us definitively about motive, but we know a few things. We know that he lived for a long time in North Carolina, and there appears to have been a number of criminal convictions there, including one conviction for possession of a weapon of mass destruction back in 2002. Unclear exactly what that was about. Other charges and convictions related to possessing stolen property. Two, we have a LinkedIn account that says that he moved to Hawaii at one point. We have a long history of tweets, X now, with all kinds of things all over the map. Some very strange things, including at one point inviting the North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un to go to Hawaii to do work with him. We also know he was passionate about the Ukraine war, on the side of the Ukrainians, and he traveled to Ukraine. There's a YouTube video that we've authenticated where he's giving an interview and describing his efforts to go try to fight for the Ukrainian cause, but because he was 56 years old at the time with no military experience, they didn't accept him as a fighter, and then he turned to try to recruit people to that cause. At one point, he had a scheme to try to recruit former Afghan pro-U.S. fighters to go over to Ukraine and fight for Ukraine. So those are the kinds of things we're learning about him. Again, it doesn't tell us why he might have done this and what his motive may have been. And Tom is absolutely right. With these convictions, it raises a question about how he possessed an assault rifle. But clearly, as you said at the beginning, there were a lot of lucky things here. The first thing was that the Secret Service saw that rifle poking out of the brush on the outskirts of this golf course as they were going to clear the next hole for Donald Trump to play. That was a lucky thing, but it still raises questions as to how, yet again, someone got within rifle range of the former president, Chris.
Okay, so all of this is awful. This kind of two aspects of this, political violence, and including Donald Trump being a target, including assassinations of prior presidents, including Donald Trump swimming and being steeped in himself threats of violence and rhetoric of violence. It's all terrible. And on top of that, why in the world was this man able to buy yet another with not a semi-automatic weapon, but an automatic weapon, machine gun type. And yet, why? Why can he get and hold a gun in America? You have someone I heard from MSNBC talking about, this is when you can't keep children in schools safe, when you can't keep a protectorate of the Secret Service safe, because Donald was nicked by shrapnel on his ear in the previous assassination attempt. But this guy had a rifle poking out at a fence. He also had a GoPro, I guess, which is one of these things where you can video and do this live. This guy could have been successful. The fact that he even got that close means that it's impossible to keep anyone safe. And this is not a failure of the Secret Service. This is a failure of all of us in our society, allowing these kinds of weapons of war to be in the hands of civilians, period. And also having no restrictions, meaningful restrictions on people with past criminal behavior and who are a danger to themselves and to the public. Now, this latest assassination attempt has brought out the very worst in everyone from the randos to the billionaires, including Elon Musk. So let me first share with you, I'm not sure if you have seen this one. I like to bring to you things that you may not have watched elsewhere. And this is, and by the way, as you know, I make sure things.
Make sure that they go back medieval times where how they used to interrogate and get information out of people. I don't give a fuck. Whatever the fuck you need to do. People, I want you to use your craziest, most wild imaginations. Whatever the fuck it takes to pry the information out of this fucker's mouth of why and who. You get it? And you better do it fast, because they will pull a Jack Ruby on this motherfucker. And those little kiddies out there who don't know who Jack Ruby is, Jack Ruby whacked Lee Harvey Oswald, who assassinated Kennedy. You see? They're gonna whack him. Get there quickly, whatever the fuck it takes to get the information of why and who.
Okay, guys, you can hear me right now. This is some crazy MAGA guy. I know that my sound went out, and I can edit this in post, but what I need to know is when my sound went out. Did you hear me telling you, oh, I need to go, I don't know how, I want to repeat the part that you missed, and it says it was 8:17. Okay. Lost the audio. The problem is the guns and, okay, I'll start there. So guys, the problem is the guns, right? There is no restriction on guns. The problem is the fact that, yeah, it's not the earplug problem, it was the mic, guys. Okay. The problem is that we allow people who have criminal records and who are a danger to the public and themselves to get weapons, period. Even handguns. And the fact that we allow anyone, any civilian, to have a weapon of war. And I do consider assault rifles to be that type of weapon, even if they are semi-automatic. And there is more that Congress could be doing, even within the bounds of the Supreme Court's ruling in Heller. Now, also, and what I had just played for you moments ago, because we had this little sound issue, and since you could hear him, I'm not going to play that again. What I was playing for you is this. the attempted assassination on Donald Trump, which I have said is horrific for the reasons that we all know: political violence and stirring up a cycle of retribution. And the fact the thing that we prize in this country is a peaceful transfer of power. This is not how we go about running a democracy, period. And what disturbs me so much here is that this assassination attempt has brought out some of the worst people crawling out, not just from, under rocks, but also from behind their computer screen, like Elon Musk, the head of Twitter. And before I get to Musk, what I want to, I don't know the name, you guys, of the guy in the video that I played, this terrible MAGA guy. And what I do know is that he is not alone. He is absolutely not alone in what he is doing here. He is someone who believes in suspending the Constitution, that the Fourth Amendment shouldn't apply, that the Fifth Amendment shouldn't apply, that we should be able to use, he would believe, any kind of force to get someone to be coerced into confessing to something. And what we know about coerced confessions is not only are they thrown out at trial, but of course, for some people that doesn't matter. They just want the information. They don't care about trials. But not only is this information thrown out at trial, but also, what do you think? What do you think the quality of a confession would be if you're torturing someone to get it? Even pressuring someone to confess. We saw what happened to the Central Park 5 kids. How about you? If you are being waterboarded or drawn and quartered, what the hell do you think you're going to say? What are you going to be confessing to? It is idiotic. Now, in addition, though, I think we also know what Elon Musk did. Now, this is a tweet he put out last night in response to someone named Doggy Designer. Someone wrote why they want to kill Donald Trump. And Elon Musk, in the website that he controls, twitter.com, he may call it X, but I still call it Twitter, says this: and no one is even trying to assassinate Biden, Kamala. And then he has a little thoughtful emoji. This is outrageous. This is a call for violence. This is a suggestion that somehow implicit in here is the suggestion that this was done by Democratic operatives when he already knew, first of all, at that time, who the guy was in custody, I believe. And even if he didn't know at the time, it's highly dangerous. Now we have Brandon Friedman in DC saying this warrants a visit from the Secret Service and a Senate hearing, given that he is a major defense and national security contractor. Hell yes, it does. By the way, Elon Musk took that tweet down. Okay, so that is what we have going on. Now, of course, there are people who are going to say, oh, this is a setup and this is, Donald Trump's team just doing this. I don't think so, guys. I don't think so. I highly doubt it. But it doesn't even matter, because the reality is he is exploiting this to try to make himself a victim, as opposed to being someone who has called for the death of others, called for the killing of people on his own staff, brought violence against people in Springfield, Ohio. He doesn't give an F that what he has done and the lies he's perpetuated about Haitian immigrants has caused violence caused danger, I should say, in that community. Bomb threats at schools, bomb threats at hospitals. He brings that on. He's never the victim. He's always the victim, though. He doesn't see himself as a perpetrator. He's threatening to have people who are here lawfully, the immigrants from Haiti in Springfield, deported to Venezuela. None of it makes sense, and all of it brings violence on people who are vulnerable. Now, I want to add, and I'm going to get to some other stories as well. I want to share with you something that George Conway, a friend of mine, and I became friends with him sometime after Trump, because it turns out we have a shared colleague in common who worked with him at his law firm, someone I went to college with, and am dear friends with, and we only realized after Donald was elected. Okay, let's play this. This is George Conway's view on what is happening now, and how anything Donald is doing to distract or draw attention to himself in a favorable way is not going to work.
Well, he's reaching his final destination, which is complete decompensation. He doesn't. None of his tricks are working anymore. We're on to them. They don't excite anybody anymore. He's losing in the polls. He has to try to make things up. And his own vice presidential candidate on another network today basically said, we're making up stories in order to win this election. And, it's not working for him, and he knows it. And he knows he's going down. And the more he feels that he's going down, remember, he's running not just for president, he's running from prison. You're going to see him engage in more and more desperate behavior. And that's what you see with I hate Taylor Swift, is he's just lashing out. And, his people have lost control over him. And the only person who seems to have any control over him is the person who's telling him or whispering in his ear or doing something to tell him that everything's great, you're amazing, and that's Laura Loomer. And that's where this is the ultimate implosion, and we're watching it live.
Yeah, we are watching it live. And George gave me the perfect segue to what is our thumbnail and lead story. This is how he loses. And I'm going to remind you that it was right after the Tuesday night debate, that perfect timing, perfectly executed. Taylor Swift put out her Instagram tweet, signing it, and I don't have the full thing here, it's just a screenshot, but signing it, childless cat lady. And this is where Taylor, here we go. This is where Taylor endorses Kamala Harris and encourages people to get out and register, and this is where I ask my team, whether it be, I think I see you right there, Jason, your you can have it. Susan Thompson, you've thrown this in the chat before. I think it's vote.org, the website where you can go and be redirected to your state your Secretary of State's office so you can register. Anyhow, so let me talk to you about Taylor. At the beginning of the show, I talked about how he is utterly jealous of her because she has everything that he doesn't. Brains, a way with words, a true fan base, billions of dollars that she earned on her own, youth and beauty, and self-esteem. Okay, what I have here, this is Taylor at one of her rallies. Oh, we don't call them rallies. We call them concerts, because it's not just a bunch of loud, empty rhetoric and lies. She's performing. She's speaking about life, about emotions. She is elevating people. Her fans feel connected to her. That is Taylor. Now, I'm giving you a source for this in case you want to look at the details. This is from theweek.com. You can probably, and again, I can put these things up in the on the website, but the headline of this particular story that I loved was all the records Taylor Swift has broken. And there is a long list. I'm choosing one for you here. This is her most recent album, and it is the Tortured Poets Department. And I'm going to put this so I can read it better. It shattered all records. It was the first album in history to surpass 1 billion streams in a single week. 1 billion streams in a single week. That's the equivalent of, not just sales, but people playing the album. 1 billion. Now, we got more. This is another source here. This is from Grammy.com, because we just had the Grammys. And this is a photo, and it says, here's the caption: Taylor Swift performs during the Eras Tour in Sao Paulo, Brazil on November 24th, 2023. So what does this story have to say? This is some details. Her Eras Tour has become the highest grossing tour ever. And in 8 months, her tour did something that none has ever done, no artist ever done. It grossed over $1 billion. And this is kind of incredible. I mean, I think by the end of the year, she had sold 4.3 million tickets. Now it's over 5 million, and people find this even more staggering. They're saying because Elton John's farewell tour that had 328 shows. Remember, she had 60. He got it to 939 million. So she did that in half as many shows, and she still had 9 months to go. Okay, more Taylor Swift. In addition, if you care about numbers, she's shattering audience attendance records. So there's that. Okay, so of course this would freak Donald Trump out. But let me just point out to you, a lot of the fans don't vote yet, but a lot of the fans are grown up and do, and the parents who bring them to the concerts do. And this feels like a cheap shot going against Taylor Swift. And remember that Joe Biden won the election. So did Hillary in terms of popular vote. But when it comes to the Electoral College, Joe Biden was able to win just with 50,000 more votes across 3 states. Now, of course, I'm not talking about the fact that he had over 80 million in the popular vote. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that, again, how the Electoral College votes are distributed is such that it just took 50,000 votes across 3 states. If you look at those numbers, again, you don't have to be a quantum physicist. Although just to boast, my older child Emily is in a master's program, getting a degree in physics, and is studying quantum physics and what is it called? Quantum mechanics? I don't know. And neutrinos. So that's a thing. That's really cool. Maybe I'll have her as a guest and she can kind of explain it, because she's doing this thing called Citizen Science Project involving this thing called Ice Cube down, I think, at the South Pole or Antarctica. I don't know, guys. Some of you probably know this. And anyhow, back to the fact that you don't have to be a mathematician to understand that alienating Taylor Swift fans, the numbers aren't going to add up for them. And we have seen already how much explosion there has been in people visiting vote.org and registering to vote. And, these fans are in every state, all over the country. So good work there, Donald. Now, I want to pivot to something else that was mentioned, and that is JD Vance making up stories. And so this goes to the this is the cats and dogs story, and I have the video. I thought I had the video. I do have it. I just want to pull it up for you guys. JD Vance. Oh, I know. Yeah, JD Vance. Okay, I think I got it. So basically, JD Vance is recently starting to recant what he said, kind of alluding to the fact that, sometimes we just have to make up stories that resonate. It was a very weird comment, and I'm going to play for you the response right here from Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, on what Vance said. Here we go.
To get to, but first, your response to what you heard from Senator J.D. Vance.
Dana, that was bonkers. Listen, the governor of Ohio, the mayor of that town in Ohio, has said this is all made up. These are all lies. There's no truth to it. And the United States Senator from Ohio just came on your show and blamed his own constituents for his own lies. This guy's so pathetic, but the thing is, it is dangerous. There is a causal connection between the BS that J.D. Vance and Donald Trump spew and the safety and security of the American people. When they go out and they lie about this stuff, they put their fellow Americans at risk. J.D. Vance should be ashamed of himself. He knows better. This guy.
Okay, you get that. I'm going to play you what JD said. I think you want to hear this. Let's do it. I got the download. Somehow I hadn't grabbed it before, but here we go.
Just once and for all, you again started this in part by saying that, at which Donald Trump repeated on the debate stage, that, and he didn't say anything about the policies that you're talking about. He just said Haitians are eating dogs and cats. Can you affirmatively say now that that is a rumor that has no basis with evidence?
Dana, the evidence is the first-hand account of my constituents who are telling me that this happened. And by the way, I've been trying to talk about the problems in Springfield for months, and the American media ignored it. There was a congressional hearing just last week of angel moms who lost children because Kamala Harris let criminal migrants into this country who then murdered their children. The American media totally ignored this stuff until Donald Trump and I started talking about cat memes. If I have to, create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do, Dana, because you guys are completely letting Kamala Harris coast. You had one interview with her. You talk about pushing back against me, Dana. You didn't push back against the fact that she cast the deciding vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which is why a lot of Americans can't afford food and housing.
You just said that you're
creating
a story.
Public policy.
Huh.
Sir, you just said that you're creating the story.
What's that, Dana?
You just said that this is a story that you created. So the eating dogs and cats thing is not accurate.
Dana, it comes from firsthand accounts from my constituents. I say that we're creating a story, meaning we're creating the American media focusing on it. I didn't create 20,000.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Stories from constituents that aren't vetted, that aren't true, that he is trying to raise, he's admitting, trying to create a media circus around it. It is utterly, utterly shameful. And I want to add more about this. Let's go. I have got Jasmine Crockett, fabulous congresswoman who spoke at the DNC. I have actually met her in person, and she and her staff are even better in person, if you can believe it, than they even are on stage. Let's play this. I'm sorry, than they are on air.
My heart breaks that this election is close because this comes down to just some basic norms and principles of what we should see in leadership for the greatest country in the world. And it doesn't look like this. Yes, Springfield is going through hell, but they're going through hell because the guy that says that he wants to be the commander in chief is actually bringing that hell to their footsteps. He decided to amplify a lie on a national debate stage, and that is harming American citizens. That is a problem. When I talk about MAGA, I talk about the fact that when we swore in finally in January, that we swore to defend against those that are coming against us, whether they are domestic or international. And right now, I feel like MAGA in general, they are threats to us domestically. And we see it time and time again. And I think that's why you see so many national leaders, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, coming together to say there is only one person qualified to be the commander in chief, and that is Kamala Harris.
No question.
She is so good. And I, of course, agree with her. So what do I need to say on the other side of that? Now, I've got a little more on Springfield. After that, I've got something absolutely nutso that Donald Trump said at a rally. And I've got someone on TikTok doing that. So I can expose you to that. It's really fabulous. And then we will go to Crazy Town, guys. Okay, here we go.
NBC News has now spoken to a woman. Her name is Erica Lee, and she's the woman behind one of those viral posts claiming that her neighbor's cat was kidnapped and saying that it may have been at the hands of Haitian neighbors. She tells us at NBC News she has now deleted the post, that it was wrong, that she misinterpreted a neighbor's story. She just texted me, quote, "I messed up royally," and she said she never meant to cause so much hate against this one group of people. So, Alex, again, the frustration here mounting, the chaos mounting, and we're just kind of here on the ground seeing where this goes from here.
It is so disturbing that people are making bomb threats against schools, against a hospital. on a Saturday morning. It's just
Right.
nuts. But let me ask you quickly with regard
It's
to the
insanity.
Haitian immigrants. Yeah, 100%. The Haitian immigrants, are they fearful at all for retribution, for people coming at them for these falsehoods?
Oh, of course they are. Of course they are. We had our team here earlier this week, and they told us point blank they fear for their lives. And we should note a lot of them don't want to go on camera. We've had really one kind of representative of the community speak to us about that point. That's why you haven't seen a lot of people speaking out, because they are fearful. One family telling a local paper that they woke up one morning to a window broken and acid thrown on their car. So make no mistake about it. They are fearful. They say the violence is real. And a lot of them are afraid to speak out. So we're hearing those stories as best we can as this all plays out.
And again, a lot of these Haitian immigrants have come and they're doing factory working jobs that weren't able to be filled. They did not have the labor pool to draw to fill those jobs. So that's what they're doing there, folks.
Okay, let's put all this together. People heard a rumor, this can happen on social media, it spread. It wasn't true. And then what happens is Donald Trump, and we know this, people like Donald Trump and Laura Loomer, conspiracy theorists, look for something that's not vetted, not credible, and then they blow it up. And what happens? Violent threats, bomb threats, someone's window is smashed, acid thrown on their car. This isn't okay. And this is what they embrace and what they're doing. And you heard JD Vance, he won't back down. They created the story out of lies. Now, meanwhile, Donald is at his rallies spewing nonsense, and Kamala Harris has invited us to go to them. I want to let you know I'm not going to be going tomorrow, after all, to the rally in Flint, Michigan here. Couple reasons. One, I don't feel particularly safe now going even with a friend, given the atmosphere. Not based on people who would be there watching him, but just anyone who is a bad copycat actor. I think I want to stay safe. And the second reason is I have a very close family member who is very ill right now. And that's all I want to say. And just please respect my privacy on that. If there's anything I will share with you, I will at some point. Okay, so this is what he said the other day at one of his rallies, and this is someone on TikTok, and you can see their TikTok handle here. Let's play this. This has to do with Donald Trump trying to talk about Niagara Falls, I think, and droughts in California. And if you know anything about the U.S. map, they're not even close. Let's play.
It all done. I had the Department of Commerce at the time, believe it or not, they're the ones that rule on this particular issue. So you have millions of gallons of water pouring down from the north with the snow caps in Canada and all pouring down. And they have essentially a very large faucet. And you turn the faucet, and it takes 1 day to turn it. It's massive. It's as big as the wall of that building right there behind you. And you turn that, and all of that water goes aimlessly into the Pacific. And if they turned it back, all of that water would come right down here and right into Los Angeles. They wouldn't have to have people not use more than 30 gallons and 32 gallons. They want to do that, they're trying to do that. And you have so much water, and all those fields that are right now barren, the farmers would have all the water they needed. And you could revert water up into the hills where you have all the dead forests, where the forests are so brittle.
Are you listening?
Where's the faucet? You know what? I saw somebody do an AI-generated image of the faucet that he's talking about. If somebody in the comments can just show me where this faucet is, I would love to see it. I mean, just let me know.
Little TikTok visit there. I mean, guys, I don't even know what to tell you about this, but yeah, doesn't make a lot of sense. But the good news is, if you think that was just one of my news stories, wait till you see Crazy Town. Now, I think you know that there is one topic that I cannot let go of. And I think you know that this topic relates to anyone's creativity around their eating cats and their eating dogs. Can't help it. I know this is a little bit of a duality because I know how dangerous the story is, but mocking the story helps diffuse the story, and I think will reduce violence against people and also, you know, comic relief in the world in which we live, where we vacillate from feelings of hope and despair and detachment. How about a little humor? How about a little humor? I say good. I say good to the humor. So here we go. Here is our Crazy Town. Love this one. Dance with me, guys. This is a good one. This is amazing.
In Springfield.
I'll see you guys tomorrow.